Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin in the presidential villa where President Muhammadu Buhari has met with service chiefs and northern governors. The meeting is believed to be part of ongoing efforts to address the spate of insecurity across the country. The present at the meeting were the Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu, Minister of Defense Mansur Dan Ali, and other heads of security agencies. Speaking to State House correspondent after the meeting, Inspector General of the Police Adamu noted that the police force will come down hard on anyone caught indulging in vote buying, thuggery, and other forms of election violence in the forthcoming general elections.
The members of the security community and intelligence community came and briefed Mr. President on the security situation in the country as a result of the postponement of the election. And we've deliberated on the consequences and came up with the resolve to further provide adequate security within the country so that the electorate will come out and cast their vote without any fear of molestation. So every Nigerian is encouraged to come out on the election day and cast his or her vote without any fear of molestation. The security personnel are ready and prepared to protect everybody. Anybody that feels that he can come out and disrupt the process, he should have a rethink, because that situation will not be allowed. If you plan and allow yourself to be used as tout, if you come out, whatever happened to you, you take it. Ballot snatching, ballot buying, forgery will never be allowed.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed readiness to conduct hitch-free elections on February 23rd and March 9, 2019. Chairman of the Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, gave the assurance while briefing election observers and journalists at the International Conference Center in Abuja. The briefing comes hours after the Commission granted political parties permission to reopen campaigns. INEC says campaigns will begin with immediate effect and end on Thursday, 21st of February.
You would recall that in my last address to stakeholders, I mentioned that we intended to deploy the smart card readers, and we identified very clear timelines for the delivery of the smart card readers. I want to report that as at last night, we have achieved 95% configuration of the 180,000 smart card readers, and this process is going to be completed early morning on Wednesday, clear one day ahead of schedule. I would also like to inform all stakeholders that we are committed to this process. We are confident that polling units will open on schedule, as I enumerated. There are no issues of materials lying anywhere outside the states where they are supposed to be deployed. Some people must have observed the availability of materials at certain airports. I wish to state that these are not materials for the election on Saturday.
Well, still on security, the Nigerian Army says it has uncovered a plan by political actors to disrupt the 2019 general elections. In a statement by its Deputy Director, Public Relations, Colonel Aminu Ilyasu, the force said credible intelligence made available to the Army revealed plans by some politicians to sponsor thugs to cause violence at the polling stations. Ilyasu further stated that these thugs planned to dress up in military uniforms. The Army has now pledged to deal decisively with anyone caught inciting violence at any polling unit across the country during the elections. Meanwhile, the electoral body has denied allegations that the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, offered bribe to its resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State. Report had emerged that the former vice president had compromised the elections in his home state, offering $1 million bribe plus a house in Dubai to the INEC rec. But in a statement published on its official Twitter handle, INEC dismissed the claim, saying the official in question has denied receiving any form of bribe from Abubakar. It also urged Nigerians to desist from spreading fake news and make efforts to confirm every information gotten from social media platforms. Well, just hours after the APC caucus meeting, the opposition People's Democratic Party has held its 84th National Executive Committee meeting. The meeting, which took place at the party's headquarters in Abuja, addressed various issues, chiefly the postponement of the general elections. It had in attendance the national chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, and Senate leader Bukola Saraki, among other party stalwarts. At the meeting, Abubakar urged Nigerians not to be discouraged by the shift in election dates, but come out en masse to vote for their choice candidates. Well, with just days away to the new date for the presidential and senatorial elections, Nigerians have continued to recount losses incurred due to the shift in the election date. Well, this next report looks at Nigerians whose plans and programs were severely affected by the election postponement. Oyin Adekunle tells us more.
Nigerians woke up to the shocking news of the postponement of the presidential election on February 16, just hours before the voting process was expected to begin. Despite an apology from the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), many Nigerians are still recounting losses incurred from the shift. Saturdays are generally known for parties across Nigeria, Owambe as many love to call it, a day family and friends gather to witness the joining of their loved ones in holy matrimony. The rescheduling of the polls to February 23rd was a big blow to this young man who had fixed the same day to tie the knot with his better half. Jide says the postponement has cost him much more than money.
It has affected it in many ways, because right now, the state we are in now, we are still trying to be able to reason, both families are still trying to reason a suitable date to put the wedding, because there are so many other programs that are supposed to happen either in one family or in the other family at subsequent Saturdays of the month. There are so many things that have gone down the drain. Maybe the programs, that one already, the dates there are not, the dates on the programs, the IV, the gifts does not tally anymore. So maybe we have to still change it, and it's going to cost some money to do that.
Shijibomi, an expert in the events industry, is one of many young Nigerians whose primary job is to manage and ensure the smooth running of events, mostly weddings. He highlights the possible effects of the election postponement on the industry and the economy at large.
Enormous on the country, because I think it was LCCI that first came with a report that the country has lost over 5 billion naira for just that one weekend. Importations, we have to seal and close our borders, and in my industry as well, we're affected, because that means a whole Saturday there won't be any event. So, and based on research and confirmed data, the last time it was, I think, 1 billion naira that was spent, the Lagos State affirmed that is being spent on top-notch drinks, high-end drinks alone, every month. So if you want to divide that into 4 per weekend, that's 250 million naira. So when you look at that statistics, that means drinks vendors, drink sellers, they've lost over 250 million.
In 2015, the general election was postponed by 6 weeks over security reasons. That election has the lowest turnout since 1999, with only 43% of registered voters coming out to express their franchise. Jide, using his father as an example, is confirming the fears of many that the turnout this time may also be affected.
My dad, he traveled to the village to vote, only to get there and discovered the election has been postponed. He came back today and has no plans of going back. So this thing has disenfranchised a lot of people.
Now, call it damage control if you like, but the government and relative agencies are on their toes to ensure Nigerians come out en masse to cast their vote on the new scheduled date for the elections. One of the many efforts is the slash in petrol price and discounts in fares by airlines. The turnout on February 23 will, however, determine if these efforts will be futile or not. Onyi Adekunle, TV360, Nigeria.
Well, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has confirmed that no fewer than 130 people have been killed in recent attacks in Kajuru local government area of the northwestern state. The figure is up from the Friday death toll, which stood at 66. El-Rufai, who revealed this while addressing State House correspondents after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa, also revealed that more suspects have been arrested in connection with the attack.
Look, I think that anybody that is still questioning whether this attack took place or not is being grossly irresponsible. I think as the governor of the state, and everyone knows me and my record of public service, I'll not be irresponsible enough to stand before the media and say something has happened that has not happened. I don't work based on telephone calls or rumors. As governor of the state, the first thing I receive every morning is a security briefing of what happened in the last 24 hours. That's the first thing I read. And now, what we are hearing, the last report we got, is that over 130 people were killed, not even 66. Okay? And the Fulani leaders have provided the names of all these people. We have the list, we will release it to the press. And I don't want to be gross, but we can release pictures of the people killed and how the army had to be there to help bury them 2 days after they were killed because the bodies were decomposing. But some people are being irresponsible. They are pretending this has not happened because it does not fit their ethnic or partisan narrative. It is totally irresponsible. This can happen to any one of us.
Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima has vowed to return to Gambaru Ngala despite an attack on his convoy by terrorists. The governor was speaking after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. Shettima's convoy was attacked by the Islamic State for West Africa province on the Maiduguri-Gambaru road on his way to a campaign event last week.
As the chief security officer of the state, the day I say I cannot go to a certain part of the state because of insecurity, then what sort of confidence are you inspiring on the common man? And the Boko Haram bask in the oxygen of publicity by attacking my convoy, by targeting my person. They have gotten the much needed boost. But then, as they said, if you can't withstand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Leadership requires courage. I will go back to Gamborungala next week. I'm ready to pay the supreme price if needs be. And I will not go in a bulletproof car. I will go in a normal car like any other members of my convoy and expose myself to all the risks that they are bearing for me to be protected. But believe me, no matter how long the night is, it must give way to the light of the dawn. Stormy, the weather might well be, but it won't rain forever. This madness will come to an end because it's a fight between light and darkness. It's a fight between truth and justice.
Well, former Senate President and elder statesman Ame Ebute is accusing former President Olusegun Obasanjo of conspiring with the People's Democratic Party to derail Nigeria's democracy. The elder statesman led the Congress of Patriotic Citizens to address the media on Tuesday in Abuja, where he called on Nigerians to rise up and condemn unpatriotic leaders.
To the best of our knowledge, Obasanjo abused every opportunity he had to set Nigeria on a speedy and progressive path. His leadership years are ingloriously recounted by Nigerians with disdain and contempt for his personality. On the reverse, ordinary citizens recall fondly and gravely President Buhari's leadership of Nigeria at every era as attested now. We find it completely distasteful. Obasanjo's president gang up and conspiracy against Nigeria. What Obasanjo and co have planned is beyond imagination. Every word of Obasanjo, from his first open letter to the last snags of a shameful and dishonorable outing from an elder statesman. We cannot understand Obasanjo anymore. I want to challenge anybody who can come up with the argument that Nigeria has not made any progress all these years. Because as old as I am, and I've witnessed right from the time I was in the university, the development that has taken place from 1971, specifically when I was in the university to now, it is difficult for me to conclude that Nigeria has not made any headway democratically.
And now to the judiciary. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has stopped the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, from declaring the chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Tax Team, Abdulrasheed Maina, wanted. The order is in response to a suit filed by Maina on September 5, 2018, asking the court to determine whether the EFCC can lawfully exercise powers of declaring him as wanted on its official website or any other media platform, or by harassing him. In addition, the former pension boss sought an order of perpetual injunction to restrain the commission from further harassing him or declaring him wanted in relation to the particulars and subject matter of the suits. Well, after counsels in the matter argued their brief, Justice Ogumbanjo gave an order of perpetual injunction restraining the EFCC and its affiliates or related bodies from further declaring Maina wanted. He also described the action of the anti-graft agency to declare Maina wanted as unlawful. And in other news, the Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, says it has launched an investigation into the killing of a civilian by some officers of the service along Ijebu-Ode Road on Sunday. Spokesperson of the service, Joseph Atta, in an interview said the officers involved in the accident have been detained and are being interrogated. A video which went viral on Sunday on social media showed how a man was shot dead by a customs officer during a protracted argument. Atta explained that the investigation was to find out the immediate and remote cause of the unfortunate incident that led to the death of the individual. Well, we'll take a short break here and return with news in business. Don't go away.
It's another important time in our country's history
when we head to the polls to decide our future.
You and I have the power to choose our leaders.
But we can only do this when we exercise our right to vote.
Every single vote matters, and I mean yours.
Then say your power.
Say no to vote buying.
Say no to electoral violence. This message was brought to you by
TV360 Nigeria.
Glad to have you back. Well, let's now talk business. Annetta Felix is standing by with the latest. Hello, Annetta.
Hello, Fidelia.
So what is making headlines in the world of business today?
Well, the postponement of the presidential and National Assembly elections have continued to draw negative reactions from the business world. A number of businesses were halted as a result of expected election activities, and financial expert Muda Yusuf describes the one-day postponement as a disaster to the Nigerian economy.
The effects on the economy shortly before the date that the election was supposed to take place, and on the very day that the election was supposed to take place, our estimation is that the economy has lost an estimated 1.5 billion US dollars. So it's quite horrendous. Investors suffered losses, individuals suffered losses, SMEs, large enterprises, the political parties, and even the government. So it was a huge cost to virtually everybody across sectors and across the length and breadth of this country.
The National Bureau of Statistics say the Federation Account Allocation Committee had disbursed a sum of 270.17 billion naira to the federal government in January 2019. The Bureau said this in FACC January 2019 disbursement statistics posted on its website. Now, according to the information there, the state received a total of 178.04 billion naira, while local governments received 133.83 billion naira. The report said the amounts disbursed comprised 547.46 billion naira from the statutory account, 100.76 billion naira from value-added tax, and 976.53 million naira on exchange gain differences. Now, oil prices hovered just below 2019 highs on Tuesday as traders waited for the outcome of U.S.-China trade talks, while supply cuts led by OPEC producer group OPEC meant markets were relatively tight. Brent crude oil futures were at $66.52 per barrel, up by 5 cents, and that's above their last close, while U.S. crude futures were at $56.03 per barrel, up 44 cents from their last settlement. Traders said they were cautious and taking large new positions before the outcome of the trade talks that start in Washington on Tuesday between senior Chinese and U.S. negotiators. Meanwhile, global oil markets remain relatively tight because of supply cuts led by the Middle East-dominated Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, with top crude exporter Saudi Arabia cutting the most. Up next is a review of the stock market trading for today. After this. Now, we've all been talking about how badly the postponement of Nigeria's elections affected the country. But let me tell you just how much the NSE lost as a result. Almost 200 billion naira. That's right. And this plunge in the NSE continues today as the all-share index is down by minus 1.61%, while the market capitalization closes at 12.084 trillion naira. Now, to give you a better idea of how low the stock market has fallen, now these figures were almost double their size as at this time last week. Now, over 580 million shares were sold, over 8 billion naira in 7,052 deals. But profit takers, skeptical about Nigeria's politics, have dragged down these figures today to over 361 million shares sold, worth over 4 billion naira in a total of 4,623 deals. Let's now look at the percentage laggard on the stock market. Mobile Nigeria PLC was performing well on the markets the week before the elections. But after the announcements from INEC, we see a drop by minus 1.06%. And same thing here for Dangote Cement, Dangote Flour, and Transnational Corporation of Nigeria PLC. Conversely, shares of Presco PLC, Zenith Bank and Guarantee, and as well as Dangote Sugar are closed. And we see that shares of Presco PLC is actually picking up selling at 75 naira, and that's up 3.31% from its last close at 72.6 naira per share. Now we see that the banking sector is also one of the best performing stocks today. Zenith and Guarantee Trust Bank appreciating by 5.63% and 3.29% respectively. Let's now turn to the global stock market, where we see that it's majorly a bears market as well, with the exception of the Nikkei, which is increasing by 0.098%. Back to you now, Fidelia.
Well, thank you, Annetta. It seems the effect of the postponement of the election is not just on people, but also on the market. And this loss recorded by the NSE has actually wiped out a weak gain made previously. That shows how massive it is.
That's true, Fidelia. Analysts have predicted that 2019 will be a much better year in business than 2018. But it seems that we only can just wait till after the elections to determine how true that forecast would be. Indeed, the election will play a vital role. Well, we'll take a short break here and return with news from sports and the foreign scene. Don't go away.
When last you vote?
Oh yeah. When last you vote for the person where you get for mind say go sabi work?
Not be person will find you something, no.
Okay now, you register to vote?
So you don't collect your PVC?
I beg, make we not be like Esau, we selling birthright though.
Make we shine our eyes this election period.
Make we stamp only people we will know say then get better mind for Nigeria.
This message.
Na TV360 Nigeria bring am.
Well, a coalition of 16 U.S. states led by California are suing President Donald Trump's administration over his decision to declare an emergency to raise funds for a Mexican border wall. Trump on Friday made the declaration to bypass Congress after it refused to approve $5.7 billion for the wall. The states say they want to block his misuse of presidential power. The Democrats oppose funding of Trump's barrier, a key campaign pledge, and have vowed to contest his plan. Well, Trump's announcement came after he signed a spending bill to avoid another government shutdown that granted him only $1.375 billion for new border barriers. Well, U.S.-China trade talks aimed at ending a damaging tariff war has resumed in Washington, the White House has confirmed. The last set of talks ended on Friday in Beijing with no deal, though U.S. President Donald Trump said discussions were going extremely well and suggested he could extend a March 1 truce deadline for an agreement to be reached. The next round of negotiations will commence with deputy-level meetings before moving on to principal-level talks on Thursday, and this is according to the White House. Well, to the world of sports, after winning praise for a successful hosting of the 2018 Asian Games, Indonesia has now submitted a bid to host the 2032 Olympics. But the Asian nation might face competition from India in a joint bid by North and South Korea. The IOC will pick the 2032 host by the year 2025. Well, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) have ordered Ismaili to play their next match behind closed doors on Saturday. The Egypt-based club will play their CAF Confederation Cup Group C match against Algerians champions C Constantine inside an empty stadium. CAF also added that the club will pay $40,000 in addition to playing their next home game behind closed doors. Well, that's the size of our bulletin on this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Fidelia Agunja. Bye for now.